Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk on your favorite channel, Huda TV. I'm your host, Arkham Rashid. Focus and concentration are two very important factors in accomplishing our daily tasks. Without focus or concentration, our daily tasks and goals become nearly impossible to achieve. On tonight's episode, we want to discuss the importance of focus and concentration and how we can increase our focus and concentration. So I'm going to start off as usual by letting my guests introduce themselves. If I could start with my right brother, if I can get your name, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me here today.
And we're glad to have you here.
My name is Ismail Charawali from Sierra Leone. I'm a student at Al-Azhar University. I'm studying languages and translation, master's. So I've been here for 5 or 6 years.
Oh, well, mashallah. And have you completed your undergrad here at Azhar also? Or?
Oh, yeah. I did that in languages and translation. So now I'm pursuing my master's degree.
In languages and translations.
Translation and Islamic studies as well.
And I've heard it's actually quite hard to get into the master's program, so it shows how smart you are, mashallah.
Yeah.
All right, so Ismail, we're glad to have you here tonight with us on Let's Talk. And once again, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
Brother, if I can get your name, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm Abdullah. I'm from Brazil, and I appreciate very much to be here with you today.
And we appreciate to have you here.
And I have studied photography and little of anthropology and before in my country in Brazil. But I am quite fresh here in Egypt. I'm just here for 4 months, up to now 4 months. And I came to know more about Islam and to study Quran and Arabic language. And I'm having good time. I'm having good time here, and I'm trying my best to understand that.
All right, mashallah. I'm glad to see you're enjoying your time here in Egypt. Once again, I want to welcome you to the show, Abdullah. Brother, if I can have your name, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself, go ahead.
My name's Fahd. I'm from Cairo. I graduated from the School of Medicine of Cairo University. I'm an emergency medicine physician, and that's...
All right, welcome back to the show, Dr. Fahd. You've been here with me before on the show.
Yeah.
I want to welcome you back
I'm a
once
big
again.
fan of the show.
It's good to know, thank you. Brother, if I can have your name, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ilyas Townsend. I'm come from London. I'm just here at, I've just begun whole Azhar process, so I'm just here with my family and kids.
All right, Brother Ilyas, I want to welcome you back to the show. You know, you've been on previous episodes, and I've enjoyed having you here on previous episodes.
I enjoyed being there.
All right, I want to start off by asking you, brother, what does focus and concentration mean to you? When somebody says you need to focus, what does it mean to you?
Well, actually, focus and concentration, sometimes people get confused, to distinguish between the two. But concentration is in general to try to understand something, in general. But when you have a focus, which means specifically you have to get something that you want to reach, and then you get a focus, So concentration and focus, these are very much important thing. As you mentioned in the beginning of the program, they are very much important. Why? Because especially for those who study, they know that without concentration and focus, they will not
get your studies done.
Yeah. So it's very much important. In everything that we do, every day we have to have concentration and focus. And I believe that if we have like a timetable in the things that we do every day, that's this is what I'm going to do tomorrow, after tomorrow. So this will help you. But if you have a bulk of things, try to do them in the same time.
You don't organize yourself.
Then you don't organize yourself. Then you will not be able to achieve as much as you can, and you have the timetable of the things that you want to do.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right, thanks for the insights on that.
Yeah.
Brother, what does focus and concentration mean to you, Brother Abdullah? Go ahead.
Well, I understand in this sense, the psychological sense, but the doctor is here, he would know better than me, so I take risk to talk.
You're the anthropologist.
No, really, I'm not anthropologist, but I like it.
Putting a lot of pressure on Dr. Fahd for his answer next. Yeah.
I think this word is borrowed from physical. It's using this meaning for psychological and medical, but when I think about, like, instance, for the focus, Even the camera, it is focus.
It's focus, yeah.
And I think that we try to think that there's one object, and this object is reflecting. And this object can reflect in front of or behind our sensor, in our eyes, like for instance, where we can read that image. But when we got the focus, and when we arrange our system to put that object inside of our mind, and then we can understand that. So I think the practical life, we are trying to, like, for instance, I address for the one that is trying to learn Islam, and so that we have to approach the right distance from that and arrange our system to make understanding
so you can see things clearly.
Clearly.
Just like a lens,
right.
when it's at a perfect distance, then it clarifies the picture.
And also, you, by the way, the light, you be concentrating that point. So you get your concentration, you get involved with what you're trying to understand.
All right, Brother Abdullah, thanks for your thoughts on that. I'm going to move down to Dr. Fahad, who has a lot of pressure on him at the moment because of Brother Abdullah.
Well, focus and concentration are synonymous. I think focus is the shortest way to get things done. Okay, so to get something done as quickly as possible, you need to focus on that particular thing. Okay, and that's the ability. So if somebody has such an ability to focus on something, they're usually very productive people. They get things done because they concentrate on tasks, just one task at a time.
Yeah.
The ability to just
put your energy to one.
You know, because focus is means focus or concentration means just to pack a lot of things into just one particular point. So that's what it means literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so to concentrate all your brain power onto one particular thought or task, that's what gets things done. Yeah.
All right, thanks for that, Dr. Fahad. We have a phone call from Brother Mahmoud. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you, brother?
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to share, and may Allah give you blessings and I mean for the effort you're doing, and hopefully all the audience are benefiting for sure from what you're doing. I very much like the topic you're talking about, concentrating and being focused. I think this is very important, and not all of us are able to fully concentrate on whatever the task we're working on. I believe sometimes we need to understand, or maybe like to put a timeline for something that we're doing, because we usually lose track of whatever we're doing. It could be a plan or a small task that you're working on, and it's all about objectivity and that you put a deadline for yourself to make sure you meet the deadline. I think it requires so many skills, and like you need to have good time management skills. You need to have maybe presentation skills if you're using your time to present something. I mean, it depends on the job, it depends on the field you work on, but it's a very general topic, and it goes in so many aspects as we talk. I might be asking a question to our dear brothers in the program about the time management. Like how are there any tools that are effective that we can make sure of having while working on a task, or I'm trying to focus on something? So many people every day, they say, oh, I couldn't get the task done, and they try to maybe delay it to the next day, and so on. So that would be my question, and Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for calling in and joining our program here, Brother Mahmoud, who is from the HR department at Huda TV. And I want to direct that question, inshallah, to Brother Ilyas. And as he said, he mentioned a really good point, that time management and focus and concentration they go side by side. You know, you can't have one without the other. So if Brother Ilyas can share his thoughts on Brother's question about the importance of time management with focus. Go ahead, Brother Ilyas.
Yeah, I think first of all, I'd just like to add on to what the brothers mentioned about the definition of focus. For me, focus is to leave everything and just, you know, use all of our efforts to attain a certain goal or a certain objective. For me, that's what really focus is, just to have that ability to just, you know, idealize
everything out
and just focus. It's like if a person's in a dark tunnel, all they see is the light, and they want to get out. They don't look left, they don't look right because it's dark. They just, all they see is the light, and they just go towards it. For me, that's what focus really is. And it's linked with time management, because if we're just not really focusing on one aspect or one task, and then if we again idolize or if we look at that tunnel, if we keep looking left, looking right, it's going to take longer to reach the exit. So it's really important for us to manage our time and understand, okay, this is the task I'm doing, and this is the time it's going to take to get done. And once it's done, it's done. I don't need to go back to it, because sometimes we spread ourselves too thinly. So I do 60% here, 40% here, and then we end up doing all of these things not to the best of our ability. Maybe, you know, excuse me. So one thing that we really need to bear in mind is that in the attainment of goals, focus is extremely key, because if we don't have focus, then we don't do it to the best of our ability. And if we really plan it out beforehand, we can time manage ourselves better. So if I want to, for example, if I want to write an essay, I'm going to say I'm going to dedicate one day to it. And during that day, I'm not going to do anything else. Obviously, there's some things that have to be done in the moderation. But once we do this effectively, then we'll be able to do a lot of tasks to the best of our abilities. It's like a person that is studying for exams. They leave everything to the last minute. So they leave their language, their maybe maths, their science, they leave everything to the last minute. Then maybe they won't get the marks that they want because their revision is linked to maybe, okay, an hour, maths an hour. And then they just cram revision,
time properly.
And then maybe they're not as successful as they could be in their exam. So I think that's something very, very important.
Yeah, it is. I want to kind of steal your example you gave there with the tunnel, which leads me to my next question. You know, how do you black out everything and just focus on that light? If I can, Brother Ismail, jump to you and ask you, how can we improve our concentration?
Well, actually, concentration, you know, in general, we need a lot of things, you know, to be able to concentrate. But like we have the doctor here, he will help us so much, you know, in this particular discussion.
All the pressure is going on Dr. Fahad.
But from the general perspective of concentration, people believe that, you know, if you want to concentrate, you know, especially like examination, you have to get enough sleep. But this is the problem. This is the key to success, you know, in terms of examination, or even most of the things that you want to do in life. But as students, we normally wait until the last minute, you know, when so we start to memorize, you know. So this is not actually successful. You know, many students they have the ability, you know, to go successfully, but because of time management, like you mentioned, we have to make sure that, you know, the time management is the most important thing. You know, even if you have focus, you have the energy, you have the power. But if you don't have enough time, you know, if you don't budget enough time for what you want to do, you can't succeed, you know, because the pressure is there. And, you know, concentration can never go with pressure. If you have the pressure that, okay, I have only 2 days, you know, to my examination, you know. This kind of worry that you have in your heart, you know, you can't do anything. You know, you try to memorize. Sometimes you memorize the whole thing, you know, but when you get there, by the time you enter, you know, you start to write, everything is gone.
Everything is gone. Okay, so what I can extract from what you said, 2 major things. Number 1, time management. Same thing as Brother Mahmoud mentioned on the phone call. And number 2 is, you know,
have
good sleep.
Rest, you know, you have to sleep. You get enough, you know, time. You know, if something that is, you know, it needs a duration, then give your time, you know, yourself some time.
That's a very good point. A lot of people overlook it. You know, getting a good amount of rest. Many people overlook it, but it's very important for you to complete your daily tasks and to focus and stay focused. I would like to add to that, also eating well, I think.
Yes.
When you're hungry,
Yes.
you lose focus of things, all you're thinking about is, your hunger.
Yes. I was reading something, and when I came across a line that it's I think John F. Kennedy who said that people think that we need to eat more to whether to live or whatsoever. But no, the point is if we eat less, we have our health is okay, but if we eat a lot of things, maybe drink a lot of, we have a lot of stuff to drink, during the exam or whatsoever, you become tired, And another thing also, if I'm going to take an exam, I want to read actually to, for success, which means I have to avoid reading in bed. Many people have this, making this mistake to read in bed. If you go to your bed, you have your book, you start to read. This place is to, to go there to sleep. By the time you read 2 or 3 or 5 lines, you start to sleep. So I believe that we have to avoid this. If you want to read for exam to to succeed, get the place where you go to read on the table, not the bed. That's I think it will help us.
I actually fall in that trap all the time. I read on my bed and fall asleep after 2-3 pages.
That's good. That's good. Some people sleep after 2-3 lines. It's okay.
At least I made it to 3 pages.
It's a therapy.
Brother Abdullah, what do you think? How can we?
I think we
increase our
have mentioned very important points, like you need a healthy life because your body has rights upon you, and it deserves the sleep and deserves the good meals, but also I think about me, and sometimes you have to, like, it's about the focus, and you have to elect the most important thing that you are doing now. For instance, life now, even modern life, is more complicated because there are too much distraction. And if we don't have a focus, let's say, like now I'm trying to learn Quran. There's a big task for all of us. And I address once again to the students of Deen. Say, but there's a good example from the lives of Sahabas. Like for instance, the Abu Huraira, that we know that he had a short time with Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It was around 4 years, but he was the one that managed to memorize and transmit the huge amount of hadith. Once they asked him, of course, there's the dua that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has done, but also when they asked him, how will you manage to memorize and don't forget this amount of histories and hadith? So he told at that time, he said that in the time of the people, they are distracting in the market or selling and trading. He used to be stick in Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and whatever he does, he used to do, he was just beside him. And by this way, he was, I would say that his main focus was to learn everything as possible that he could. So I think to have in mind what is important for us, also beside having a good life, a good sleep, and all the rights of our body needs, I think it also is a good clue, is a good tip for the one that. I just talk this because I'm having problem to memorize all of the ayahs and.
That's a very good point you mentioned. To get your priorities straight, you need to look at what you really want to do and just focus on it. And I like how you mentioned the story of Abu Huraira and extracted that from the story where he said others would go to the market while he would focus on what the Prophet ﷺ is teaching and try his best to memorize that. If I can go over here to Dr. Fahad, what do you think are some good ways that we can increase our focus and concentration?
Yeah, besides our brothers, what our brothers have said, you need to get yourself ready. Set the mood. Set the proper circumstances to focus on something. So you have to just avoid everything that's distracting you, and the things that distract you the most is your brain. Usually you're always thinking about other things to do. So a trick to avoid that is to write these things down. write all the tasks that you need to do later, write them down, because your brain keeps reminding you about them. You know, it's a reflex. Your brain just keeps distracting you with you know, these other tasks.
Other things you need.
Okay, other things you need to do later. Okay, and you know, which just messes up your focus. So if you write those things down, you're actually giving you're telling your brain it's okay. We can forget about those things now. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
Now we can focus on what we need to focus on. So yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a good point. You know, writing down what you need to be done, and then focus on the priority, and then take another task from your list.
Yeah, and
focus on
also set short-term goals. Yeah, we need to set, you know, long-term goals are they're good. Okay, they're what keeps
Gives you a purpose.
Yeah, they motivate us. But you need to divide your goals. You need to set short-term goals. Okay. Yeah. So for instance, you need to finish your whole syllabus. Okay, in a couple of days. But what are you going to do within the next couple, within the next half hour?
Yeah.
Okay. So short-term goals, very short-term goals, because if you accomplish those short-term goals, you're actually, you know, your brain becomes more interested, and you don't lose focus. You don't lose. You become more motivated. So. Yeah,
all right,
that too.
All right, we have a phone call from Ahmed from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you guys doing?
We're good, alhamdulillah. How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing okay. I wanted to share this question with you guys. You've been talking about focusing and concentration, and it's very, very important. But I want to ask a question. How do I overcome the distractions? And thank you very much.
All right. First thing, I want to thank you for calling in and joining our program and sharing your thoughts and your question. And inshallah, we're going to get to your question after Brother Ilyas speaks about different ways in which we can increase our concentration, and then we're going to answer your question, inshallah, right after that. All right, so Brother Ilyas, if you can continue what everybody was sharing their thoughts on.
Yeah, everyone's made very good poignant points. I think a lot of the brothers have really made it very easy for us, because they've talked about actual physically how to deal with it. But I think a important point is really to do with our environment. Having an environment that is, you know, compatible with what we're trying to achieve. So if I'm trying to, for example, memorize Quran, for example, I mean, going to Suq Sayrat on a Friday isn't it's not the best place to do it, because there's so much noise, there's the buses and people arguing, and it's not the best place for me to do it. So for me, a good way to focus and to concentrate is to find or to create the correct environment for yourself. A lot of the time when I was in university, I found it so easy to do work in a library. Might seem pretty simple, but because everyone's doing it, there's not much noise, there's not much movement, so you're really just in the scene, you're in the vibe.
Similar to what Dr. Fahad said, creating that environment.
Creating that environment. And another big thing is really turn off your mobile phone. This is one of the most
major distractions.
You know, you're WhatsApping, you're on Facebook or you know, Instagram, and you know, all of these things, they just take away from your focus. So even if you are in the library, you can still take your phone out.
Even if you don't have anyone to talk to, you can still talk to your phone.
You can still talk to your phone. So I think turning off the phone is a big step into actually improving our concentration. Now sometimes we say, okay, I've got a dictionary on my mobile phone, or I've got some other app that can help me, but in reality, a lot of the time we go on the app maybe, and then let me just check the news quickly, or let me check my email quickly.
Distractions.
And then we distract ourselves. So I think the important thing is to, instead of having a dictionary on your phone, have the actual dictionary in the book. And so when we use these other tools, it actually just feeds into the aim which you're trying to achieve. Because like I said, it can be very easy for us to become distracted, and we're trying our best to concentrate.
All right. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on that. And all you brothers actually shared some very good and different ways in which we can improve our concentration. Now we're going to go for a short break, and right after we come back from this short break, we're going to answer Brother Ahmed's question, the brother that called in and asked the question, how can he cut out these distractions? So stay tuned. Welcome back to Let's Talk. Now, before the break, one of our viewers, Brother Ahmed, called in and asked a very important question. How can we cut out distractions? So I want to start off by asking Brother Ismail, how can we cut off distractions?
Well, distraction, I may divide that into two, like we've been mentioning in the beginning, if I have exam, I know that this is a very crucial time, but again, and I'd like to, do the best of my effort to try to read. But sometimes people do not understand that if you give, for example, I'm going to read for 3 hours, if you check out of the 3 hours, the benefit is very limited. It's because I force myself to do something that I'm not able to do. So one of the things that you can try to avoid is the duration of time that you spend in this particular thing. If you are reading a book, for example, make sure that you get some breaks. In everything you do, even if a long duration of job, get a break. Because when you get a break, like you go out maybe for 15 minutes, then your brain refreshes, you can talk to someone or try to see something else, But if you
give yourself little breaks.
Exactly, exactly. But if you don't do that, you think that, okay, if I go for 15 minutes now, and
I'll waste my time.
Yes. So that is going to distract you, okay? And the other thing, like the brothers mentioned, and that you have to get the environment. Doctor mentioned that, it's very much important. It's whatever you want to do. If you want to memorize the Quran, I mean, if you go to Al-Azhar Mosque, you are motivated, because you find people, thousands of people, hundreds of people
trying
there
to
who
do
are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to do, you have to go to the field wherein it's suitable for you to do this thing. So otherwise, you cannot make it up. So that's very much important. We have to make sure that the time we give to do something, it's very much important. But also we have to get the breaks. Like sports, it's very much important. Everybody knows that you can go playing like for 10, maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes with friends. That gives you the chance to refresh your brain.
Yeah, refreshes your mind.
Even when we are writing essays for examination or doing research, if you get the time, you fix the time that I'm going to write it in 10 days or even 5 days. Then I know that, okay, if I continue writing, the ideas will, I will not have the ideas. So what you do is to go out, meet some friends, try to exercise a lot. It will help you to develop more ideas.
I really like that point you mentioned about the breaks. I've noticed, I remember when I was studying Arabic at the language school, we used to do 2.5 hours of class. And right in the middle of class, about 1 hour and a little bit into it, the school used to give us a 5-minute break just to walk around, go outside. And when we would come back from it, your brain would be fresh again, just like the beginning of class. So, I've noticed it does make a difference. If you go through the whole class 2.5 hours, and you're just getting bored.
That some people are, they're sleeping,
So in the same way, when we're studying, if I say, okay, I want to study for 3 hours, I'll say every half an hour, I'll take 5 minutes off, for a break. And you'll probably accomplish more in the 3 hours with the breaks than you would without them. Brother Abdullah, what do you think?
I would like to say that also we have to be very patient, because sometimes it's hard task learning. Sometimes one day you succeed, the other day you fail, but you never give up. No matter you trying to understand, you never give up, and you just keep trying. Say also, I think it is the learning cannot,
it's not done in the first time.
Yes, and not be also, you keep trying, but not make it difficult for yourself. As he says, sometimes you need a break, because the results you take from knowledge, it takes long time up to you see that it's coming back to you, but the effort is too much. But if you punish yourself that you not doing as
Anything.
you would expect to be doing, because we control yourself, then you can be like you say, bored or frustrated, deception. So be patient, because I think one of the keys of knowledge is the patience, because you keep trying, even you have a break, is part of patience, and you start again. I think this is a good advice.
All right, that's a very good point. Being patient, noticing, okay, maybe after 3 hours you didn't accomplish much. Don't give up. Keep trying, and then pace yourself. Give yourself breaks. If I can go to you, Dr. Fahad, you know, what do you think are good ways that we can cut out distractions?
I think we've covered ways to avoid distractions, but what if they don't work? Then I guess things that make your brain not function properly is maybe you're not on a proper diet. Maybe you need to maybe you're hypoglycemic. You know, maybe always keep a sweet drink next to you while studying, because
Gives you energy.
yeah, when we're low on sugar, we start getting jittery, and we start going through just flights of thought, just thoughts flying through our heads, and to the right and to the left, just not focusing. So yeah, keep a sweet drink next to you. Start with coffee, okay, and have a proper breakfast, a balanced, proper king's breakfast.
I like the coffee idea.
Yeah,
Go
coffee
on.
is very important. Yeah, just don't forget about what's being said by some people that coffee's bad for you. Actually, coffee's it's a great way to temporarily adjust your brain. Okay, yeah, it's actually a good supplement. Like a good booster.
Yeah.
It boosts your energy levels, it boosts your concentration levels, makes you focus better. But sometimes too much coffee makes you jittery.
Yeah.
So yeah, just not too much
Everything
coffee.
with a balance.
Everything
Yeah.
in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just keep a sweet drink next to you, and make sure that you're adequately adequately fed.
So I guess what I can take from what you're saying is that's to avoid any sort of body distractions. So your stomach doesn't tell you you're hungry, or you don't jitter because you're low on sugar, or you don't feel thirsty. Like any sort of distraction that can possibly come for your body.
Yeah, because we've already you need to sleep well. You need to put yourself in a good set the mood. Put yourself in the proper place. When I used to study, I used to lock myself in the dressing room. Okay, no windows there, nothing, just a lamp.
Sounds like a punishment.
Yeah, so yeah, you're just trying to avoid any other stimuli. So what if that doesn't work? Then I guess there's something organic. You're not properly fed. You need to. Nuts are very important. Fish is very important. Yeah, and also. Focus is a training. It's just like you train your brain the same way you train your muscles. It's a gradual process.
Yeah.
Okay?
Not from day one.
Yeah, so you need to train your brain. You need to train your brain to avoid distractions. And you need to train your brain for starters, if you start losing interest in something, do 5 more.
Yeah.
Do just if you're done with something, you just can't concentrate anymore. Tell yourself, okay, you're gonna shut this. You're gonna close the book in 5 pages, and then you're just you're training yourself. You're training your brain.
Yeah. All right, Brother Elias, what do you think?
I'm very happy now the doctor's given me a license to drink fizzy drinks and coffee and then a big breakfast.
Not fizzy drinks.
You said sweet.
Sweet. Yeah, they're just like
Natural
fruits.
juices.
Yeah, a fruit juice.
Fizzy drink for me then. I think something very important that the doctor mentioned earlier on was setting short-term goals. I think this is an amazing idea actually, because one of the brothers, he was saying that he would love to complete reading the Quran once every month, and he said he was really finding it difficult. So someone gave him some advice, and they said if you just read maybe it was 2 pages before and after every salah, it's going to amount to roughly a juz every day.
Yeah.
And so he said when he tried that, he found that it was so much easier. You know, just two, and then like the month's gone and he's wow, I finished the whole Quran. And he said that since then I've always tried to do it every month now because it's something short term and it's something that's actually attainable. So when he's doing it, because it's so quick and so easy, he's not thinking about what am I going to do later on, or you know, it was so easy for him. So
yeah, I guess that would cut off distractions in a way. Instead of having a bulk of things to complete,
break
and
it
then
down.
you'll start getting distracted. Well, you know, I won't be able to complete it anyway. I might as well go, you know, play soccer or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was saying that, you know, if he just says I have to read a juz today, then maybe he's going to get a quarter of the way through in one sitting, and you know, get bored, or you know, want to do something else, or then find it hard. It becomes heavy on him. So if we just break our tasks down, make them very light, very attainable, and then if we find them easy to do, then inshallah, it's going to be very hard for us to be distracted actually if it's so easy and we can do it very quickly.
Yeah.
So
and like Dr. Fahad said, it's something you have to train your brain too. So you know, from day one, you're not going to have the best focus. You know, your concentration isn't going to be at 100%.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, going to the gym. You know, you're not going to lift 100 kg from day one.
To be
Yeah.
properly fed, properly trained.
Yeah. Another thing, you know, I notice when I read books, or you know, when I'm studying a certain subject, it helps if, you know, when I start getting bored of that book, I'll put it down and grab another book and continue reading, you know, from a different book. So, you know, I guess the change of mood, or when you start getting a little bored of it, you know, you give it a little twist, you know, switch it with something else.
Start from the end. Yeah.
There's those old Goosebump books where it would tell you, you know, turn to page, you know, 56. Anyways, Brother Ilyas, how can we connect, you know, concentration and focus with our religion?
That's a very good question actually. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is salah. And if we go back to the example I used earlier on with regards to the tunnel, you know, if you're in a dark tunnel, all you can see is the light, your eyes are just fixed on it. And so that's how you get to the exit. And the Prophet ﷺ told us, you know, when we're praying, just to keep our eyes on the place of sujood, because this will help us in our concentration. If a person in salah and they're looking around and that's a very nice minaret, or you know, that's a very nice bookshelf, or
what does that calligraphy say on the wall?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to take away from his, it's got to take away from his concentration or his focus. So I think one of the key ways in really improving on the ibadah is to be, you know, Allah talks about in the Quran about khashya, or sorry, khushu', like stillness, not too much movement, just focusing on, in this example, we're talking about salah. So it's really taking our time in our salah, you know, and not just salah on autopilot. You know, there's Allah Akbar, and he's done, and he goes back.
So what happened? What just happened?
What just happened? Did I even make tashahhud? And subhanAllah, we need to, it's important, you know, it's important to really just take our time and just really think our way through our salah. Just using salah as an example, think our way through salah. You know,
it's the one thing that's very hard to focus on usually.
Yeah, but I find that just that different adhkar or different supplication that you use in the salah, it refreshes your memory a little bit. If you say the same thing over and over again, then it just becomes like autopilot. But if we're changing the things we're saying, if we're changing the things we're asking for, if we're changing, you know, some of the emotives that we have inside of us, then the salah, it's like
something, you know, very beautiful I heard, since we're talking about salah, is somebody asked a sheikh once, you know, why do we say Allahu Akbar every time we change a position while we're praying? And the reply was, you know, it just, you know, got to me. It was really beautiful. And he said, you know, it helps us focus and stay concentrated in salah, because every time, say I'm, you know, reciting, I lose focus, I'm just doing it as an act now. I don't know what I'm doing. Then when I go to ruku', I say Allahu Akbar. The reason why I say God is the greatest is to remind me that whatever my mind was on, let it go, drop it. God is the greatest. So each time you change position in salah, you're reminding yourself, no, focus. God is the greatest. And that just, now every time I pray, you know, every time Allahu Akbar, oh, God is the greatest. It's just something, you know, something that was so beautiful when I heard this story.
There is also, you know, even Almighty Allah also, you know, mentions that in the Quran, you know, when He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَلَا تَغُرَّنَّكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا وَلَا يَغُرَّنَّكُمْ بِاللَّهِ الْغَرُورُ. This actually means, the worldly life that we see today, people want to be rich, people want to be moving around the world, having a lot of money in the banks. All these things, they distract you from, your religion, sometimes if you don't take time. Because, nobody can, can be as, can be wealthy enough to be, to satisfy himself that I don't need to look for money anymore. Or otherwise, like Bill Gates, the other rich people in the Gulf, they won't be, opening, building these big companies, But because they need more money, and they keep there. So I believe that, this verse in particular is trying to tell us that don't get yourself out of track, because the Islam is you have to pay attention, you have to do whatever you do. Even the Prophet advises us that if you watch something, that is not good, do not look the second time. The first time you see it, okay. But now I know that if I go, this, oh my God, I can't, so don't go there again. So, which means we have to be very much aware of everything we do. And especially these days, we do see a lot of things in the media and even in the public, so many things, if you don't take time, too many lies, so it requires us to be very much, concerned with our religion. No matter, I tell you this, Islam, we are now many, and it's the fastest growing religion in the world. But if you check who are the right Muslims there, who actually follow the rules and regulations of the Quran, there are very few, very, very few. Everybody, is saying, I'm a Muslim. And I read something, a scholar went to America, he's actually a Muslim. When he went there in the West, he said, when he came back, he said, when I went to in the West, I saw really Islam without Muslims. But in the Islamic countries, I saw Muslims without Islam. Because, we claim to be Muslims today, and we are not paying attention to our religion. We don't care. If we do care for, for the people, for example, we can't have a lot of poor people, we have rich people who are very wealthy. We can share, but there is no focus in the religion. So that's why we have to make sure that the religion needs attention. We have to pay attention. We have to concentrate, like you said in what we do all the time in prayer. We call God every time we make sujood or ruku. Yeah.
All right, Brother Abdullah, how do you think we can connect the two?
No, indeed, I think the religion, the deen, is all about concentration. As they say, you see, even the effort of all the prophets to find God and to concentrate to God. You see, there are many examples. They have gone to the wilderness, to the Sahara. Musa alayhi salam, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi salam has gone to the mountain, trying to see, to understand how great is Allah, how great is His face, how wonderful. And this nowadays, I say, there's too much distraction, too much lies. Mass media, what you see, you turn on or turn off, you keep seeing distraction. But also, finally, we realize, just our conversation here, that even the Salah, and you practice Islam, it helps for the concentration to understand who is Allah, and for any other matter in our life. Like we were talking about the Salah. If you perform Salah, your body, you get the rhythm. Like the same you sleep the right amount, you eat the right amount. If you perform Salah, you get concentrate, because your body get the rhythm of life that you need to perform all of your tasks. Also, you say perform Salah. You always be realizing, concentrate where you are. You know that north is there, west is there, the Qibla is there. You know the time, because now you know that the day is coming longer, or the things is coming shorter. So all of that to make you be concentrated,
be aware of your life.
Be aware, first of all, how wonderful is Allah, how great is Allah, and also that we are the servants of Allah, and we have to hold on, we have to carry on our lives through this path to achieve what we want, what we are trying, what we are struggling, inshallah.
There's one point you mentioned in the beginning of the Prophet Musa, going to the desert, and of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ going to the cave. And it's very beautiful because, you know, he went to the cave to avoid all distractions from the people so he can concentrate and focus on, you know, what he wants to figure out, what is life about. He wants to meditate, and he cut off the distractions by, you know, setting his environment. After that, inshallah, now we're unfortunately out of time, so we're going to have to end the conversation here. I want to thank you guys for joining me here tonight on Let's Talk and, you know, sharing your thoughts. So once again, I want to thank you guys, and I want to thank you, dear viewers, for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk. I hope tonight's episode will help you increase your focus and concentration. Also, don't forget to like our Facebook page, and you can suggest future topics and share your thoughts, your questions, and your comments on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/letstalkofficial. And until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.